You know, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say some things I'm concealing my face because I don't want no fanatics who might see this to come around and try to cause me harm. But I'm a black man, obviously. I grew up in a middle class family. I was exposed to many things culturally. Black people, white people, Asian people, Hispanic people, all kinds of people. Went on to college, went on to grad school, became a teacher. Taught white kids, black kids, Hispanic kids, Asian kids, all kinds of kids come in the face with all kinds of parents. Poor ones, rich ones, black ones, white ones, Asians, Hispanics, and so forth. And I'll say this, black Americans, in my perspective, in my mind, have dropped the ball. You need to do better. Yes, slavery was tragic. Yes, it was a horrible introduction to this country, and its ramifications and effects have been terrible to the black race. Relegated to a status of non-human, lower than animals, and used and abused and raped and murdered and forced to work, sold out by our own people. And then vilified and socially discarded, financially discarded, when we were the ones who really brought this country, put it on its feet without toil and labor. But it's 2016, and we have our youth killing each other and being disrespectful, doing terribly in school, acting misogynistically, acting self-destructively. And we have the ability to change. The people who could make a change, I think, have sold out. Our celebrities continue to make these low-life movies. Atlanta Housewives, and I don't even know them, because I don't watch them. But the things that are horrible role models to our black girls. They're showing women being belligerent, nasty, hating each other, being materialistic. These aren't divas. These are rich tramps, you know. And these actresses have sold themselves out. I mean, I understand they need money and they want a decent role, you know. But the effect that you're having on our youth is horrible. And these rappers promoting this violence, and not violence on for a good purpose, just violence in general. Just songs come on about guns and again misogyny and hate towards women. I mean, they maybe in their minds it's love, but it's you saying what you're gonna do to a woman and talking about them using pejorative terms and expletives, and it's not positive. But they're making millions and millions and millions, and they get promoted and promoted. And we know that they're being promoted as part of the machine to keep us down. You know, Christian music doesn't get out like that. I'm not a holy roller, but it has a positive message. Christian rappers don't have that same success. And then we sell each other out. And what about our athletes and our billionaires out there who don't funnel the music any or much or the needed amount of money and resources back into these communities that need it. The Chinese do it. The Hispanics do it. They support each other. We don't. We put each other down. First thing we do when we get a little piece of money is go out and buy something we can't really afford to make it for our poor sense of self. So we buy material things, go out and buy something made from, or buy people who probably don't even care about us, Versace and Ralph Lauren and Gucci and all these other things. Even make stupid songs, Versace, stuff like this. Worshiping this materialism, and kill each other for it. Hold it over others' heads, compare ourselves, think we're better than each other, because you drive a Lexus or something, okay? Because you decide you're going to pay $700 a month or something on a Lexus, while your kid is going to one of the worst schools. So on all levels, we're failing. We're failing each other. Yeah, Black Lives Matter. Well, make them matter by making them valuable. Being a good role model for your children. Being a good role model for black youth. All people. Representing things that are of real value, like integrity and truth, honesty, responsibility, respect. Okay? Now I understand that we have so many up there who are babies with babies, But that starts somewhere. It came from somewhere. And recognize the situation you're in and do something about it. I taught and teach and have been around other teachers and who are really dedicated to the cause, really trying to help these kids in these challenged schools. But these kids in general are intensely disrespectful. And the things they hold up are the things they hear in the rap songs, and the things that they see on TV, and the things that they see around them in the community, which are being reinforced, by the media. But there's a level of awareness that should exist that says this is wrong, and I can do better, and I will do better. I'll do better for myself. I'll do better for my kids, my neighbors' kids, my sisters, my brother's kids. I will teach them to be respectful. I will not let them disrespect me. I will teach them limitations, so they'll be successful. And they'll do well for themselves. I'll teach them not to be lazy. I'll teach them the value of dedication to hard work, to smart work, to getting an education that'll at least put you in a position to go in the Army, develop a skill if you can't afford college, to denounce violence. Okay? We failed each other. You can't continue blaming the man, the white man. Yeah, white people came from very, historically, very challenged beginnings. No one's better than anyone. But they came from very challenged beginnings. And if you do your research, you'll see it. They came from the mountains of Europe, or once the diaspora took place and black people spread out to all sections of the globe, and through whatever means, mutation or just environmental conditioning, developed into other races. The white race was one in a very hostile climate, very hostile conditions, and they were hostile and horrible to each other through decades and decades and centuries through the Dark Ages and all the way up through the Crusades and hostile takeovers and the wars and the different empires, the Roman Empire and the Germans and the British. Very aggressive people, forced to be that way. But they were crafty, and they had to be crafty, you know, to get over. Meanwhile, in Africa, people were in a very, very hospitable physical environment, and where things were lush and abundant, and I guess it led to a sense of complacency, and so they were easy pickings when Europeans came and exploited them, as they exploited and used their own people and contributed to the slave trade, and then themselves became victims. So again, it's clear what slavery has done and can do to a people. But people evolve, you know, and shouldn't devolve. And it seems to me that black people as a race are devolving. When I was coming up in the 70s, there wasn't this violence like this. We had heroes, we had leaders that we looked up to. Our music was positive. Our art was much more positive. I just can't say much about it now, you know. I mean, overall, I'm sure there's many more rich and affluent black people than there were probably in the 70s. But those at the bottom, which may be about good 40 to 60% of the race in America anyway, who are, uneducated and just a few degrees of separation from someone significantly close to them being a part of the criminal justice system, or solely and completely dependent on government assistance, things of those natures. It seems that has increased. We don't respect each other. There's no solidarity. There's no collective consciousness. And I'll tell you, that I've been there and I've seen it, and I've tried to work with and help kids who have absolutely no respect for me as a black man, someone who is from my heart there, not for the money, And it's sad and it's tragic. It's tragic. When will it change? How will it change? I don't know when. I know how it can. But as long as we have things that continue to pervade and permeate our ranks, such as this negative rap music and negative representation of us by us on TV, in the media, things won't get better. And in terms of the youth who are being murdered and killed by the police, yes, the police are overreacting, But these police are people who, for the most part, are trying to assure the safety of people and putting their lives on the line every day, going out there to try to secure and keep things safe. And if you are told by the police to sit, or to listen, or to be quiet, or to put your hands up, you need to follow those instructions very carefully. If not, you are defying them, and you are making them nervous, and you are putting your life in danger. And we see and have seen and probably will continue to see the effects of that and what that would do. But I will tell you that, and I've told my students, learn to follow directions, keep your mouth shut. Being a man means being smart enough to see another day, not acting in a way that's going to cause somebody to harm you or kill you because you think you're being dissed. You know, you don't even deserve respect. You're a child. You know, you're out there, you know, or you're just a common citizen out there doing something suspicious. And, you know, if you weren't doing something that's suspicious, you need to allow the opportunity for it to be clarified that it's not suspicious. Now, we do have some rabidly racist cops, and right now with the political arena being what it is, and with the horrible Republican candidate out there who clearly is promoting hatred, some people feel empowered, you know, and they're coming out of the woodwork, and they're not only coming out of the woodwork in words, but in actions. And there are racists, some people who just hate black people. It's been carried on, you know, through the years. And again, how can you rape somebody of their land, bring them to a country, and then want to discard them and hate them and treat them bad? You know, y'all did it, white folks. You know, those who are watching this video, and y'all did it. Y'all brought us here. You know, so respect your guests, but you know, and your new family. Y'all weren't family here. This was the Indians' land. But I don't want to, you know, veer too far away from the core of what I'm saying. Don't give people a reason to hurt you. Don't give people a reason to kill you. Don't give people justification who are already sanctioned further reason to cause you harm or destruction. Being a man is being smart. Being a man is doing your best in school. It's respecting your parents. It's respecting women. And you women out there who are just as bad as some of these men, is respecting other women and respecting men, okay? Respecting people. Respect yourself. This is when things will change. Yeah, Black Lives Matter. Well, make them matter. Do something meaningful. Do something positive with your time and your life. I can honestly say, sadly, that about 40% of those people down in these so-called challenged, impoverished areas, sadly and tragically, will not become productive citizens who have something positive to lend to society. They won't. Because they've embraced so many negative things so early on. And we don't invest in each other to do better and create better environments. So they will become what is known as a public charge. Many of them will end up in jail. Many of them will meet their demise in one way or another on the streets, being hard and embracing thug mentality and listening to rap music and numbing their minds with all these drugs and alcohol, abusing women and impregnating women who will go on to have children who will, without proper intervention, continue the cycle. And that's tragic. And it has to stop. I think China has the right idea. That's, birth should be a privilege. One should prove themselves capable of providing for a child before having one. But such legislation would be too strong and considered a violation of human rights here. So we continue to bring babies into a world that they're not endowed with the proper resources to successfully navigate. And myself personally, You know, I don't want to be part of it. And I learned early on to be respectful, you know. And my beginnings weren't easy. I was abused in many different ways and treated horribly by people, you know. And I would say this, some of the most harsh treatment I got socially came from black people. Black people, okay? Yeah, I encountered racist white people, and I had white friends who, when they got mad, you know, eventually the nigger came out, the word nigger came out, to the point where I expected it, you know. But it was my own people, so-called own people, who threatened to beat me up because I spoke white, you know, who called me white, who called me Uncle Tom, who would gang up against me, you know, talk about me, put me down, you know, force me to run home, you know, be creative, you know. He kept me filled with fear until I got big enough to defend myself because I didn't have anyone to help me. My family was fragmented. No brothers and sisters around to help. No father around to help, you know. But somehow I knew violence wasn't the answer, you know. So I was creative. I ran. And then I studied martial arts, and then I got bigger. And still, I always avoided those things. And then it was the black people who would put me down because my clothes weren't designer labeled or the shoes weren't Nike, you know. And it was white people that I met who, you know, in some cases were the nicest to me, who didn't judge me, with whom I learned a lot of positive things, you know. Joined the Boy Scouts. That's one of the best times of my life. To a Jewish friend. Was the only black in the troop. Brought Asians in there. Integrated the troop. My goal was to always show the best that I could be, that I was better than what they expected me to be. That I was smart, athletic, of mind and body. And it's paid off. It's paid off. It was at Howard University where I saw light-skinned blacks avoid dark-skinned blacks. Where I saw classism and intra-race racism, you know. And I guess this happens among all races, you know, this classism. But it's a disease in our race. And I've been in elevators where black women just assumed that I wanted something from them. Where black women had such negative expectations that I got to the point where I no longer even said good morning. Because it seemed to be presumed that I wanted something from them. That's pitiful. That's sad. That's been my experience and the experience of others, I'm sure. And even now, as an adult in the professional world, in the social circles, there's such jealousy, such division. It's no surprise that things are as bad Well, actually, it is a surprise, a tragic surprise. And if Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers and even John F. Kennedy and others who are part of the civil rights movement could see this and are seeing this, then I'm sure that their souls must be in pain, because this is not what they fought for. But this is what's taking place. So individually, we have to make decisions to do what is right. Be your own leader, you know. Don't let a rapper be your leader. Don't let some athlete be your leader. These athletes don't care about you, you know. Some of them do some positive things, but most of them, you know, they're just out for self. It's capitalism. Air Jordan shouldn't be in the hundreds. You know, they should be an affordable brand of Air Jordans. And other things developed by so-called minorities or specifically blacks for blacks. There should be scholarship funds set up. There should be institutions erected, schools built by our rich and immensely financially successful to help bring us up. Chicago should not be a bloody battleground that it is. And we're just feeding the machine that wants to see our destruction. If Chicago was white, and these were whites on whites killing each other, there probably would be some intervention, but that's not the case. When we got to stop expecting that others will come in and rescue us. We have to rescue ourselves. But no one will watch this who needs to watch this, and those who will watch it may have nothing but vile things to say and see right past the message. Just like the message to Bill Cosby. And it's horrible that another one of our great figures has possibly turned out to have a nefarious past, but when he was talking about the conditions in the black community and boys wearing these pants below their waist and being misogynistic and all the things we're speaking of here, he was chastised by other blacks, airing out dirty laundry. Everyone sees the dirty laundry anyway. Well, let's clean it. Let's do something about it. You can't expect help from outside unless you start it within. You better represent. Do the best you can for yours. Don't sell each other out. You did it once before and look what happened. So let's not let it happen again. And stop it, because it's already in progress.